Hello and welcome to today's live class. If you've been following the previous series, you should have learned how to get attention for your product, how to convert this attention into interest, and how to nurture that interest. So today I'll be teaching you about lead conversion, how to convert that nurtured interest into sales. Sales is the lifeblood of your business. You can do whatever it is you do, have a perfect branding, have a perfect business, but if you don't make sales, you can't achieve your vision. You can't do anything with your business. It's literally how you accomplish things, how you pay bills, how you get things done is by generating revenue, by generating sales, by making an income. So today I'll be teaching you how to sell. Now, the first thing you have to know about selling it's not just about the technology or psychology or the biology or strategies of selling and all that. It's a simple step-by-step guidelines on how you can be taken by the hand and go through a process that makes you become a very good salesperson. Now, you should understand this by now that you're in sales. Every single person is in sales. You can't deny the fact that you sell yourself and your product every single time you communicate. But here is the first thing you have to pay attention to. The people you shouldn't target. There are lots of videos and information on who you should target, how to target them, and approaches and all that. But the first thing you need to know about selling is that you can't sell to everyone. There are people you shouldn't waste your time with, people you shouldn't target. But how do you decide these people? Because sometimes your marketing campaign and strategies attract all kinds of people to you, and you end up wasting your time with trying to market to all kinds of people. Now, here are two features that helps you not to waste your time on a particular group of people. Number one is the people who can afford what you sell. This is the first thing you pay attention to. Can they pay for it? Can they pay for it? If they can't afford to pay for it, you shouldn't waste your time with them, because you've created something that have value. And most times, trying to get a person who can afford a thing to pay for it will get you to waste your time. Then number two, if they need convincing. If you need to convince a person to buy what it is that you have, you're wasting your time with the wrong people. Why? Because if you're selling a thing, you're trying to look for the people who already want what you have, not the people who you need to convince to want it. If you're convincing them, you're wasting your time. It's exhausting to convince people. It's time consuming to try to convince people to buy what it is that you have. So these two features are the first thing you pay attention to in determining who you shouldn't target, who you shouldn't pay attention to. They should, if it's the people who can afford it, and if it's the people who you need to convince. As far as selling is concerned, you're working on persuasion. That is the first element you're working on. Persuasion. You're trying to persuade people to see the value you've created, not to convince people who don't want it. There is a percentage of people scattered all over the world who want what it is that you have, and social media have made it easy for you to find them. So that now begs the question, why do people even buy a thing? Why do people make a purchase? What is the driving factor for people buying? What is the justification people have for buying a thing? There are so many reasons people have for buying a thing, but I'm going to teach you something really important today. Something no one has taught you, something that you don't know. This is a profound approach to selling anything, and it works every single time. Now, the common reasons people have for buying a thing could be probably because of the price. There are people who want things that are affordable, and there are people who want things that are premium. That could be a reason. If it's a premium customer or a premium user, or those people with lots of money, they could want premium content. That could be a reason. Another reason could be maybe based on location. If you're located in a place that is more closer to where they reside, or if you're located on a platform where it's closer to where they can be found, then it's kind of, could be a reason why they buy from you. Another reason could be branding. Maybe a business that have a better or a more profound expressed brand than the other could be a reason. Another reason could be probably recommendation. When a close friend or relative recommends something, and it becomes a reason why people buy. But here is the problem with all these reasons that you find everywhere, that is very common. As long as there is an alternative and you work on these reasons, it doesn't hold water for creating a profound approach to you selling anything. Why? Because if you choose to brand your business perfectly as a reason why people buy from you, there is other alternatives to that brand. If you choose to focus on pricing, there are also other products or services that offer that similar prices. If you choose to focus on, let's say, recommendation, every single person is going to recommend probably that same product to, or a different alternative product to someone else. So my point is, whether it works, whether it's on location, branding, recommendation, whatever reason that you think people have as a justification for buying, there is an alternative to that reason, that they have lots of options. So you can't just create a perfect brand, create a wholesome price, give your customers profound service that makes them recommend you better, because they're also recommending other similar products too that is giving them awesome service. So what exactly is it that you do that makes all this reason justified and, creates some sort of an inducement for people to buy? It's called influence. Now, other than these reasons that people have to buy, you need to influence people to buy from you. Influence is the inducement to the justification that makes you the selection. It's the thing that you attach to whatever reason that people have for buying that makes them choose you. What that means is, even if you offer the same price with someone else, if you influence them, they will choose you. Even if you're recommended to the same extent as someone else, if yours have an influence attachment, you will be choosing. So this is why influence is so important and so powerful, because there are alternatives. Now, what then is influence? What is this whole thing with influence, and how can you synthesize it and attach it to whatever reason people have as a justification for buying? And this is so important. If you understand and learn how to do this for your business, you would stand out way beyond whatever it is that exists in the market. Now, every single person makes a decision based on the way they feel. The reason people buy things, the reason people do anything is due to how they feel. Whether it has to do with recommendation or branding or whatever it is. This infused some sort of a feeling that got expressed and got integrated in their decision making. And this was why they made a purchase. Now, the funny thing about a feeling is that it is usually the reward that people get after doing something. For instance, if you get an alert in your phone, the reward you get ultimately in your body for the alert you got is the feeling that comes with it. You feel happy, you feel excited, you have all kinds of feelings. Something wrong happens to you, get a feeling that indicates what happened. So usually feelings are the indicators that also serves as reward. So what this means is, if you can get people to feel positively towards whatever justification that they have, you would have gotten them influenced to make you become the choice. So how do we get people to feel positively towards your product and services and all that? The only way to do that, as far as influencing them is concerned, is to create an offer that influences. When you create an offer that influences and attach it to your product or services, you can influence people to make you to become the decision. So what then is an offer, and how can we create it, and how can we attach influence to it? Now, your business is a place of profit, but not just a place of profit for just you. It's a place of profit for everyone. If you're the only person that makes a profit from your business, it's wrong. What that means is the difference between the cost of running your business, of production and all that, and the price you set it is usually the profit for you. But the difference between the price and the offer is the profit for the customers, the consumers, the users that use your product and services. So what this means is that the offer, it's usually the advantageous reward that you give to customers or clients that patronize you, that gives a sense of strong feeling or emotion that creates something that it's like a profit for them. That advantage that induces reward and also have a connotation of profit. That is what an offer is. But how do you create it? Not just what it is now. How do you create an offer and attach it to your product or services and have it so influence people? It's very simple. Since all this is talking about a reward, talking about a feeling, what this means is the three things you're focused on is a strong imagination, a strong emotion, and a strong decision. If you can have these three things attached to your product or services or attached to your business, you would have created an offer that influences strong emotion, strong decision, and strong imagination. How do you make people choose strongly when it has to do with you? Choose you strongly. How do you have people decide strongly on you? And how do you have people emote strongly when it has to do with you? Now, don't forget this before we go forward. The strong imagination, to have them imagine strongly when it has to do with you, that focuses on your marketing. Now the strong decision focuses on your branding, and the strong emotion focuses on your product and services. But like I said, these are the what. How do you attach these three elements to your business so people can be influenced to make you the decision? It's simple. Focusing on strong emotion. The way you do that is by creating benefits for your users, for your products, for your consumers and all that, by creating benefit. What then is a benefit? Benefit talks about the other things that they get outside your product or services. What is it that people get when they do business with you other than the product and services? For instance, giving people a discount, giving people probably a coupon, giving people a free delivery, giving people and probably something that is an advantage to the product or services, but it's not the product or services. That is what an offer is. Giving people, let's say you're into fashion, and you can guarantee people that they always get what they order. You can guarantee people that you deliver on time. You can guarantee people that you probably, if it's something that comes with an instruction manual, that is a benefit. If it's something that gives people an opportunity to return if there is a damage, that is a benefit. Whatever it is that is an advantage to this product or services other than the product or services is a benefit. And that is one way that you can elicit strong emotion. Because if it's something that cuts across what someone already wants other than what they paid for it, that creates an advantage for it, then it makes them feel strongly towards it. And the two ways you do this is, like I always say, by inquiring from the people you are serving, what is it about this that will create an advantage for you? Number two, you can observe them to find out what can create an advantage for them. But you don't ever think it up in your head in isolation. Like, I think it would be nice if I give people a discount. It would be. I think it may be nice if I give people free delivery. It doesn't work. You have to observe them. You have to inquire from them what exactly will create an advantage for them. And that will create a sense of a profit for them other than the actual price they're paying for it. And this focuses on the strong emotion. Now, talking about strong decision. Strong decision focuses on your brand. And just like benefit is the way you create strong emotion, authenticity is the way you create strong decision. But what does authenticity mean? For you to be authentic, the two ways you can create authenticity with your business is by having a profound brand and by having a vision. Now, most businesses have no vision, they have nothing they're approaching, and they have no brand. Now, it's really important for you to understand that branding is not logo. Branding, it's not flyers and colors. Branding, it's not those visual things that people see. Branding is something that you have chosen to be known for, to be consistent on, and to be excellent for. That is what your brand is. It's not about colors and logos. As a matter of fact, it's not the logos and colors that makes the brand. It's the brand that makes the logos and colors. But for you to be authentic, to choose a brand, by creating a brand, you have to make sure that you're not just vaguely pursuing something. You're not just vaguely pursuing outward appearance. You're picking something that you can be known for, you can be excellent at, and that you can be consistent on. Now, it's something of what to note that consistency is actually one way to differentiate yourself. Consistency. Let me give you an instance. If there is an experiment, I think we have done this experiment before, and there are like 4 flashes of light. This is white light, this is black light, or green, yellow, and blue. And you keep changing all these lights, and you leave the green one to be consistent. Is the only one you don't change. The only one people will notice to be different is the one that doesn't change. The ones that are changing, even if they're doing something nice and they're doing something awesome, people would not really associate a branding with them. It's the one that have been consistent over time. Same thing with your business. So consistency is you're choosing something that is excellent to to keep doing over time and to be known for, and you have to be precise for it. Let me give you a more profound example. Domino's Pizza, when they started, they focused on delivering, on time delivery. As a matter of fact, they made a promise that if they don't deliver within the time that is allocated for delivery, that you will get your order for free. Now, that is something that is precise, that they have chosen to be known for, to be consistent on, and to be excellent at. And that is what creates branding for people. And that is one way you can be authentic. So you have to define that thing. What is it that I'll be known for? What is it that I can be consistent on? And what is it that I can be excellent at? It's not just that you won't be known for it, you won't be excellent at it. Because by default, everything already have a brand. Everything is already branded. Your business might be that mediocre brand, that lazy business, that business that doesn't deliver what it says. That could be your brand. And it's already unconsciously associated with you. But you may not even know it. Everything already have a brand. But it's the knowing you, what you be known for, what you be excellent at, what you be consistent on, that positively differentiates you as a brand from others. Now, the second way you can be authentic is by having a vision. Most businesses don't have a vision. They know what they are doing in their business. They know why they are doing it, but they don't know what they want to achieve with all this. They don't know where they are going to with this business. You have to be able to point people to something that is beyond the business, something that is beyond you, something that creates a sense of belief, something you're contributing to the world. It's not just a vision statement. It's not just an ideal. It's something you're contributing positively towards every single day. And this is one way you can stand yourself out, because if people can see that every single time they look at your business, that you're one step closer to the vision you describe, they can associate authenticity with you. And that focuses on authenticity that creates strong decision. Now, strong imagination. How can you have people imagine strongly when it has to do with your marketing and business so you can sell to them? It's simple. Number one is curiosity. Most times you have businesses and marketing and campaigns that don't get people curious about what it is you do. You need people to imagine. You need them to want to know more about you. You want them to want to use these services to find out, like, people are by default already imaginative, but you want what you do to be housed in the faculty of their imagination. And how do you get people to be curious with what it is that you do? There are a couple of ways you could do that, but I'll give you two. You could use a contrarian. A contrarian is something that kind of says opposite of what it intends, but at the end it means exactly what it oppositely intends. For instance, if you have a marketing campaign that says how to eat your way, how to drink your way to health. Now there are lots of things that there are lots of campaigns that goes against drinking and healthy living. But let's say you write that how to drink your way to health. And what this actually means is healthy drinking to healthy living. Something that it's kind of contradicts itself, but means what you intend, is what a contrarian is. It's like saying how to get a fish to fly. No, we know fishes swim, birds fly, but getting a fish to fly creates this curiosity in people. Let's say you're a gym instructor, and you're creating a caption that says how to get you healthy being fat. No, probably come up with something that seems like a contradiction to what you want to do, but gets people curious to want to see you achieve it. And then it's one way you could create this whole strong imagination for people. Other than that, you could use a trailer information. A trailer information is just like the term trailer for movies, where you could give some part of the information, some part of the scene, but not the whole scene, and people want to see the rest of it. But make sure that when you're giving a trailer information, that you're giving something valuable. Something valuable is not just something that you subjectively think is valuable. It's something that offers a solution, something that helps people achieve something, either moves them towards pain, moves them away from pain, or moves them towards pleasure. That is how you know it's valuable. And that is that for strong imagination. These three elements, strong decision, strong emotion, strong imagination, is how you create an offer and get people influenced to choose you. And by strong decision, you're using authenticity, which focuses on a brand and having a vision. By strong emotion, you're focusing on benefits that gets you to inquire or observe the people or associate with them, but you don't do that in isolation. And by strong imagination, you're either using a contrarian or you're using a trailer information that gets people to imagine and want to choose you. And that is how you create an offer that influences with your business. If you're not doing this and you're just competing on pricing, competing on branding, competing on recommendation, every single alternative that exists out there will do the same thing you do. And these things can be measured. Only an influence that creates a reward that cannot ultimately be measured. And that is why you need to attach influence to it. And here is a marker for influence. Here is how you know you've attached influence to your product or services. Irrationality. Irrationality is the marker for influence. When people can choose your business and they don't have a rational reason for doing so, then you're operating on the level of influence. It's not really, if the explanation is still on your pricing, I have a good price, I have a good brand, I'm recommended better, you have alternatives and competitors that can shut down all that. But when you operate on the level of influence, most times if your customers are even asked the reason why they choose you, they can't even explain it. And when we talk about customer retention, I will show you how to build real relationship with your customer other than influence, so you can ultimately express this whole feeling and emotion thing the more and solidify your relationship with your customers. Now, that is that for influence. Outside why people buy the things they buy from you, you also need to understand why people don't buy. Why exactly is it that people don't buy things? So you don't waste your time with trying to get some people or convince people to buy from you. There are 4 profound reasons why people don't buy. Number 1 is usually, if you've ever tried to convince someone to buy a thing from you, they could tell you that they don't have the money. There's no money. Even if you sell something wonderful, you meet the class that tells you that they don't have money to purchase this thing. You can meet the class that tells you that they don't trust you. Maybe they have the money for it, and it's not really about the money. It's just you. Now, it might be that they want the product or services that you sell, but they don't want the person who is associated with it. That means they don't trust you. Or it could be that they don't just want this. They don't just want this. Or it could be that they don't have the time for it. So either that it's a money problem, or it's a time problem, or it's a risk problem, or they don't just want it. But what does these things mean so you don't waste your time? If you meet a group, like I stated earlier, that tells you, or you're talking to a person and you figure out either by observing them or by associating with them or by inquiring with them somehow that they can't afford this, they say there is no money for this. What it simply means is that you're talking to the wrong people. That is what that means. It's that simple. If you're trying to sell a thing to a person and they tell you that they don't have the money for it, it means you're talking to the wrong person. It's why the first thing you have to target is the people who can afford what it is that you're selling. Then, if you're talking to a group and they tell you that they don't, and you observe that they don't trust you, that they want this thing, they have the money for it, but they don't trust you, it simply means that the risk of doing business with you is high. And here's what you do. Every single business have a risk. To do associated with every single business is a risk, and you should know that. And it's either the risk is being borne by the business or is being borne by the customers, and they know it, and you're just probably new, or you've not really paid attention to this risk thing. So what do you do to dissociate yourself from risk or reduce the risk with doing business with you? You find a way to give people, inclusive in the benefits that you offer. Like I spoke about benefit earlier. Inclusive in the benefit have to be a risk reduction benefit. For instance, you give people a money back guarantee, that if they don't get what they want, they get their money back, and you guarantee it. Or you give people a return policy. it's an opportunity for them to return whatever it is that you offer if they don't get, or if they're not comfortable with what they want. Now, these risk reduction benefits are ways you can reduce risk to help to have people choose you the more. But people can see that those things could just be words that doesn't mean anything. So it means you have to add consequence to whatever benefits that is reducing risk for people. What it means is that you can say something like, you get your money back, or this happens to us, or we double it, or this. You have to add a consequence to whatever risk reduction you're trying to approach, or people don't even see that you're serious with it, and they can choose something else. So there have to be a consequence added. It's like the lady who is trying to, or the businessman who is trying to deliver on time, and he's like, on time delivering, or you get your money back. Now, that is a consequence that is added to the benefit, and it's really important you do that, and that also helps you reduce risk. Or it's like a person coming to your studio to do a thing, and you're like, we'll give you the best of quality, depending on what the person described, that will give you this quality, or you get your money back and you still get the thing that you want, or the thing you requested for. That is a risk reduction mechanism that help people reduce risk. So that is that for risk. So people could, outside the fact that they have no money, that the risk is high, it could be that they have no time. You could be talking to a person that says that they don't just have time for this, or you could see that the person is in a hurry. What that simply means is that you're talking to the person in the wrong environment. If you're talking to a person who is not listening to you, or there is no time, they feel that there is no time for this, you're talking to the person in the wrong environment. An environment is not necessarily a physical place. The right environment is the place where they are willing to make an exchange. The place where they are willing to make an exchange. That is number one. Number two is the place where they are willing to listen to you. Because if they're listening, they can also make an exchange. It means you can talk to a person not necessarily in a marketplace. You can talk to them in their break time, if they are workers, if there are people who work, not while they are working. If you're talking to a people or a group of people and they don't have time for whatever it is that you're selling. Now, we have spoken about, if there is no money, it means that you're talking to the wrong people. If they don't trust you, it means the risk of doing business with you is high. Now, if they don't have time for this, it means you're talking to them in the wrong environment. The right environment is not necessarily a physical environment. It's not necessarily a physical place. It's a place where they are willing to make an exchange and they are willing to listen to you. So it could be their break time, if it's a group that, maybe a corporate group that have a time they take breaks and all that. Or it could be in the marketplace where they are willing to make an exchange in the market. It's usually the best time to talk to people when they're in the market, because that is when they want to make an exchange. But if they don't create time for you, it simply means you're talking to them in the wrong environment, and you need to talk to people in the right environment. Now, if they don't want it, there is no explanation for that other than they don't want it. You don't have to bother yourself with them. They don't want it. It's simple that they don't want it. There are things that people don't want and they will not use, no matter how nice your influence and marketing strategies and techniques are. It's what it simply means. But here is something really profound with these 4 things I listed for you. If it's a money problem, if it's a want problem, if it's a risk problem, here is something really important to it. The 4 of them. You're not supposed to provide or make every single one of these 4 things available. You're not supposed to look for the group that wants it or make them want it, and also create time for them or meet them in the environment where they have the time, and at the same time you're reducing risk, and at the same time you're trying to look for the group that have the money. You're not supposed to do all this. Here is the right way to do it. You, the individual, or the marketer, or the business owner, or the person who is trying to sell, you're supposed to discover one of these. That is, discover one of it. For instance, you might discover the group that wants it, that wants what you have, or the group that can afford it. You're supposed to discover one. Your business is supposed to provide one. The client or customers are supposed to provide one, and the product or services are supposed to provide one. Now, let me give you an example with this. If you're trying to sell something to a group, for instance, you're trying to sell something to young people, right? By discovering one is discovering the demographic of these young people, or the psychograph of these young people that can afford the thing you're trying to sell. That is you discovering one. That one you didn't do anything about it other than just to discover which group can afford this. And the one you discover is the one that is the lifeblood of your business. For instance, if you run something like a church, the lifeblood of the business of the church is the people's time in the church, not necessarily their money or affordability, is their time. But if you're running a normal business, the lifeblood of the business is money, resources. So you're looking for the group that can afford it first. If you do that, then your business is supposed to reduce risk. That is what your business is supposed to be designed with. That is, you're supposed to associate a benefit that reduces risk. Then your product or services is supposed to be what they want, and they will create the time for it. So you can't do these 4 things. You're doing one. If it's the church example, for instance, it means if you're a pastor and you're trying to do your church business, it means you're discovering the group that have time for this. If it's young people, you're going after the group that can create time to listen. Then that is the one you should discover. Then your teaching, your messages have to be what they want. Then what they want, it's not, or probably what they need, something that cuts across something that really helps them, move them away from pain or towards pleasure. And then the people in this that runs this church have to be those ones that can help develop trust, reduce risk. And then ultimately these people will bring money to the church. So these 4 things are not supposed to be created all by you. You, the business owner or the marketer or the person selling, is supposed to discover one. Your product or services is supposed to deliver one. The business is supposed to deliver one. And then the clients ultimately will bring one. And that is that for the issues with why people don't buy, with the money, time, and all that. Now, as far as business is concerned, and as far as selling is concerned, you will get told a whole lot of no when you're trying to sell something to people. You get told no so many times, and it's important you understand that and get comfortable with it. As a matter of fact, there is something called a conversion rate, or conversion, or simply conversion. Conversion is simply the number of yes you get, or the number of no that you get per yes. That is what conversion means in a layman terms. The number of no's you get per yes. That is, you can get told 100 no's before you get 1 yes. What your conversion simply means is 1:100, or like 1%. You could get told 100 no's before you get 10 yeses, or 90 no's to 10 yeses. Your conversion is like 10%. Now, if you understand your conversion, or if you step out there to get people to buy something from you, the first thing you're trying to discover is your conversion. Like, how many people get to tell me no before I get 1 yes? What this means is that you're looking forward to the no's. You're no more, you don't get rattled when you get rejected, because you're trying to find your conversion. And the moment that is discovered, what you do is to try to increase the number of people you then talk to. If you realize that I need to talk to 100 people before one person says yes to me, that means if I need 10 people to say yes to me, I need to talk to 1,000 people. So what medium do I use to talk to 1,000 people at once, or in a short while? That is what conversion does for you. It helps you to stop convincing people and find the number of people who can say yes to you after series of no's. So the other thing it does is it also helps you improve on the number of yeses you get while talking to the same 100 people. Maybe, is it a branding problem? Is it a packaging problem? Is it a communication problem? It helps you with that. So the first thing you're looking for when you step out to sell something is a no, not a yes, because it helps you with your conversion. You're trying to discover the number of no's per yes. It helps you not to just get disappointed when you get a no. You should embrace getting a no, because you're trying to find conversion here. And that is that for that, because a whole lot of people, you're going to get disappointed when you try to sell something. I told you there are lots of alternatives to it. You're going to get disappointed when you try to market something. There are lots of alternatives to it, but you're trying to find your conversion. So you should start and try embracing the no's, so you can find your conversion and then increase the number of people you talk to using technology, their social media for that, or probably find out what is the fault. Why is my conversion so low? Now that is that for that. Now I'm going to teach you how to communicate and hold a conversation when you're talking to people, when you finally find a client that you're having a conversation with. What exactly do you do? Most times you're trying to convince people to buy something from you, and most times you're also trying to get them to see your value, see the value in what it is that you're offering. You're just, and you don't know really, you really don't know how to have or keep a conversation with a client to get them to buy something from you. But here is how you do it. If you've ever gone to a medical doctor or a health professional, every single time you go to a health professional, money leaves you. Either you're running a test, or you're being given a drug, a prescription, or you're being treated for something that you didn't even know. But money leaves you. How do they do it? Do they try to convince you to buy a thing? See how the conversation goes, and it helps you to probably learn how to talk to clients. Just don't ever forget that you're assuming the role of a doctor, someone who wants to see your clients get helped, not someone who is just trying to convince them to buy whatever thing that you sell. So what that means is that you're following a service where you first of all have to ask a question, then you listen, and then you do a follow-up. These are the three things you're doing. You're asking, you're listening, and you're doing a follow-up. You're not just talking and trying to have a conversation. You're like the medical doctor. The client comes in and is asking, what is it? What is wrong with you? What is going on with you? And then from the inputs that he's giving, he listens, he takes notes, and then he does a follow-up. It's from these findings. Sometimes he recommends a test. Go run a test. The test is simply you trying to find out what really is wrong with, what really does this client want, so I can satisfy it, so I can provide it. Not just you trying to convince people to buy this, just buy this. You're trying to configure your products or services to become the thing that a client wants by asking them, by listening to them, and also doing a follow-up. So you're assuming the role of the therapist, the medical doctor. You're confident that they will already make a purchase. It's why there is the profound statement that if you can describe the problem of the client more than they can, they will trust you to provide a solution. So you're not just trying to convince people, you're trying to describe their problem more than they can. It's what you do with the conversation. You're trying to see if you understand the problem of the client through a conversation so you can provide the solution. Now, when you're communicating with these clients, it's important you understand that communication is not just utterance. Communication is just 7% utterance, what you say. And the other percentage is covered by energy and body language. The way your body language is, it needs to speak confidence and positivity, and the energy that you exude. You need to avoid the extremes. You don't have to be too energetic and you're out there in their face telling them with so much passion and enthusiasm how important your products or services are. And you don't also have to have this low energy where you're just, it looks like you don't really care about the things you say. Just avoid the extremes as far as energy is concerned. And then with body language, you have to also sell what you're saying you have to sell what you're selling by selling how you look and what you're saying as well. So the way this utterance is conveyed, the body language of this utterance is way more important than even what it is that you're selling, because people see the things that they want to buy and who is selling it before they buy the thing. Now, that is for how you communicate. The utterance, the body language, and the energy. With the body language, you want to convey positivity. With the energy, you want to avoid the extremity. And then with your utterance, you want to talk like a professional. A professional doesn't necessarily mean you have to be official. A professional means a person that understands the job requirement, that understands that you're a solution giver, that understands that the difference why people wouldn't buy your product or services even if they want it is you. So they might want what it is you have to offer, but they might not want the person who offers it. But by communicating, they can see that you understand the problem and they can trust you to provide the solution. So that is that for communication. Now, outside the conversation, how to converse and how to communicate with people, you also have to learn how to close the deal, how to close. It's not just something that most times happens automatically. You can go through every single thing I just explained. You can try influencing people. You can try having a proper conversation with people and communicating with people, but you have to learn how to close. To close simply means to bring the customer, client, or user to the point of purchase. That is what it means to close, not just to keep rambling about the benefit of your product and all that. It's now time to close this deal. But how do you do it? At this stage, your clients might still have some objections. Now, the objections is not if they want the thing or not. We have already assessed that and figured out that they want this. We have reduced the risk and all that. Now, the objection might be something more subtle. Maybe it's the pricing. It's the by pricing, I mean they can afford the thing that you sell, but they want an adjustment on how they pay, and that might create an objection. So it's now the time for you to keep shooting down whatever objection they raise by trying to close. For instance, if it's something that have to do with a pricing, or you don't even have to wait for it to be a pricing thing. You can create an option for payment that helps your clients, maybe paying 60% upfront or 70% upfront and paying 30% later, or 50% upfront and 50% later, especially if you sell something that is premium and very, very pricey and expensive. That is how you close. And then that is one way you close. You could also find out what else is an objection to everything that I've created. It could be a payment. It could still be a payment problem, because I explained to you that it's about bringing them to the point of payment. So you're trying to find out first, what is the objection with payment? Is it the method of payment? It's when you make sure that there's an option for card transfers, whatever payment option that is available, because you're trying to bring them to the point of payment. Maybe it's not that, it's just that they really have the time for this, but they are trying to reorganize their schedule. So you want to be in the moment and help them reorganize their schedule and see when they have the time that you can also be available to probably render the services or products or whatever. So this is the stage. Closing is first of all finding the objection and shooting it down. But this is a client that you have qualified to have wanted it. You have created influence, created benefits, and your authenticity is top notch and all that. And you're trying to shoot down whatever objection they have. Don't forget that you're not trying to convince them. You're not trying to convince anybody. You've already seen that they want this, and you're making sure that the objections that they have, the impediments they have in their heart, you're trying to shoot it down. Now, after focusing on the objection, you now have to ask the person profound questions that shows that the sales have been completed. Like where do you want how do you want to make payment after you've created that? It's part of the whole package in your payment option. Like, how do you want to make payment? Where do you want this delivered? You're asking definite questions that points to the fact that these have gotten to completion. And if the person still have some sort of an objection, and you're trying to find out what the objection is, and then you're asking them still profound question like, if this thing you listed right now is being sorted out, would you be making a purchase? And you're trying to find out, you're asking definite questions, finding out the objections, creating options, creating solutions that ask precise questions on you offering whatever solution that you created also. And that is how you close, by shooting down objections and by asking definite questions that points to purchase or sales. Now, that is that for conversion. That is that for lead conversion. Every single thing that I've listed for you being followed, even if it's not followed in service or in step by step, because sometimes some clients are closer to closing than they need influence. Sometimes they already got a recommendation and really don't have to do so much thing. But these illustrations and these service and processes and these steps help you to make sure you get every single nook and cranny covered to get clients to make a purchase from you. And that is how you make sales. Now, the next time, on our next live episode, I'll be showing you how to retain customers. Don't forget that this is about lead generation, lead nurturing, lead conversion, and lead retention. And our next episode and service is on lead retention. If you do have any question, you can always send us a mail, and I'll be glad and happy to reply to all your mails. So thank you, and do have a wonderful day. See you next time on this live.